Oh shit. What the?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kieran, and yes, welcome back to a brand new survival horror video. That is right, I know what you're thinking. You're like, Kieran, didn't you just do one recently, as in like last Sunday? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, I did. But let me tell you why I'm doing it right now, because this game could not wait, so I had to do it today. Let me set the scene. It's Xbox's 2019 E3 conference, and we are treated to like a mysterious trailer for a horror game. As the trailer continues on, many are guessing on what it actually is. Some, like myself, thought it was Outlast 3, some thought it was Silent Hills, because you know James Sunderland, well, the character kinda looked like James Sunderland in a specific shot, and if you don't know who that is, that's from Silent Hill 2, and some even thought it was going to be like a reboot of Alan Wake. But, as the trailer panned out of the forest, and what do we see? That is right, we see the logo for bloody Blair Witch. Honestly, I was sitting there the entire time, and I was like, no, it's Outlast 3, like, it's got to be camcorder and shit, it's got in a bit of forest, of course, it's, you know, it has to be, until I seen the logo, and I was like, okay, so it's an Outlast clone. Although even, like, throughout the trailer as well, there was, like, hints of like Blair Witch sprinkled in there, like the wee bit where like the lassie's like sitting in the corner of the room or something like that, just facing the corner. That was a bit in the movie, I think. But yeah, this new Blair Witch game actually does look surprisingly good, judging from the spooky trailer that we got and the gameplay shown off E3. The game is actually being developed by Blooper team, which if you haven't heard of them before, are the developers of titles like Layers of Fear and Observer, both receiving positive reviews. Although I think the part of the team that made Observer are making this game, since Layers of Fear 2 just got released there, so I'm guessing the developers of that game came off the first game, as in the first Layers of Fear. I was just saying that just in case you weren't really a fan of the Layer of Fear games. I'm not really too big on them, but I haven't personally played Observer, but I'm more interested in seeing what that kind of part of the team does, and what they have to offer. Anyway, yes, let's move on to talk all about Blair Witch, starting in the usual spot, the story. In 1996, a young boy disappears in the Black Hills forest near Burkittsville. A former police officer with a troubled past called Ellis joins the search for the missing child. What starts as an ordinary investigation soon turns into an endless nightmare as you confront your fears and the Blair Witch, a mysterious force that haunts the woods.
Spooky.
The game is actually canon alongside the movies, meaning it is actually a sequel to the first movie, as it's set around like 2 years after the events of the film. Ellis and his trusted dog companion Bullet make their way through the forest and struggle against some like weird shit like black magic, creepy monsters, and deep psychological horror. The story is definitely an interesting premise, and judging from the reveal trailer, the game is definitely going to make our visit to the forest very interesting indeed. Cool story element which will come in use with Ellis's investigation is the camcorder. I originally thought that's where the whole Outlast idea came from when I was first initially watching the trailer, which was, you know, the camcorder when he picks it up and he was looking around and shit like that, but no, it's not going to be used like that. It's not going to be used like in Outlast. The camcorder will actually be a tool to like tell flashbacks of sorts in a very cool way, which we'll get more into. It's kind of like the film in that sense, where it's sort of found footage. I'll be honest though, I'm just really hoping nothing too bad happens to the dog, because oh man, like I know it's a horror game and shit, but I do have a really bad feeling that Bullet is going to be munched by this spooky bitch. Also, I'm curious on the main character's troubled past and how it's going to affect him in the game. I'm guessing the witch will cause him to have flashbacks or something to when he, you know, accidentally killed someone on the force or something, or like ran a dog over, I don't know. Usually, when it comes to like someone with a troubled past, they usually have like some sort of cliche flashback thing, and he turns out to be the bad guy. Basically, there's a lot of horror games out there that try to, or let's just say inspired by Silent Hill 2. I really hope this game isn't that. I really hope it's a very original story, and the character isn't just, you know, trying to find himself or something. Anyway, I'm a lot more interested in the gameplay in Blair Witch, because will it be like every other walking horror game, or will it bring new things to the table? Let's find out. Gameplay, yes. A game can have an amazing story, but it does not matter unless the gameplay is good shit. It's good shit. Now, before you ask, no, this game won't be like the earlier Blair Witch games. Gameplay will mainly comprise of your interaction with the world and with your dog. Reviewing the gameplay, it seems like Bullet will be vital in your exploration of the forest. Throughout the game, you can give Bullet commands like tell him to stay put, seek out noises or items, praise him, or tell him to stick by your side, judging by this picture. Bullet can also track various scents from different objects, like in this scene here, where the player lets him sniff a hat or something, which leads him to a new area. I also just thought about that there, maybe this would be good for solving puzzles as well, which is confirmed to be in the game. What's also cool is the camcorder I was talking about earlier. Blooper team have said that this camcorder will be crucial for some puzzles in the game. Again, like I said before, this camera won't be used like in Outlast, where you can only see, you can only use it to see in dark and shit like that, but it will be much more original. The camera will have a found footage feel to it, much like in the movie, where we investigate footage left behind by mysterious individuals. This footage will allow us to see what led to certain events, and even give us clues as into where to go. What's also cool about this is that we can pause, rewind and fast forward the footage, giving you the ability to further inspect what's actually happening in the clip. I can see this being cleverly used during some puzzles, kinda like how the tapes in Resident Evil 7 reveal where some key objects are in the game. During an interview with Jeff Keighley, Blooper confirmed that there will be combat in the game, but not in the usual convenient way like we see in games like Resident Evil 7. Now, we don't really know what he really means by this, but I'm guessing that we won't be getting our hands on a shotgun or on an RPG or something like that, or some absurd gun, and it will be more along the lines of how Remothered and Clock Tower did it, with you being able to use defense items and stop enemies for a moment in order to get away. Now, what caught my eye during the demo was that there was a quick menu the player can access to equip the camera, torch, a phone, a radio and a backpack. The backpack, I'm just guessing, is used to store collectibles and clues picked up along your travels, or maybe small items like batteries for your torch. The only time I see the radio in use is when Ellis is talking to a sheriff in what I assume is the beginning of the game. Other than that, there isn't really much info in terms of how these items will be used in the game, so I'm very curious in seeing how they will be used in certain situations. Blair Witch is a very creepy looking horror game with a cool premise and is even out sooner than expected. The game does look really interesting and I hope Blooper does really well with this IP, but I just hope it isn't a 12-hour game with repetitive sections, but that's just what most of these games turn into. There is nothing wrong with having a 4 to 6 hour playtime. It's not bad at all, especially if it's a horror game where there isn't really many gameplay mechanics to back up the experience. This game will rely on scares and environment, so you don't really want the player growing comfortable with the surroundings. You really want them on their toes and creeped out by the environment all the time, so you can't just have this spanning 20-hour game, Sorry, it's every time I hear people talking about this, right, they're always oh no, this game is fucking, oh my god, it's 2 hours long. Why is this 2 hours long? Oh my god. And I'm you do realize it's a horror game, right? It's if you want this to be a 30-hour thing, it's going to get boring, I want to say about 7 to 8 hours in. The only horror game that can get away with that sort of playtime is a survival horror game like Resident Evil 2 Remake and Evil Within. Because there's more to do in that game than just walk around and investigate items. Once you learn the story of these games and their experience and the scares, that's about it. That's all you're really going to get from that experience. But anyway, yes, I do have faith the Blooper team will deliver a great horror game on 30th of August. So that was Blair Witch. What do you guys think of it? Please let me know down in the comments below, because I am really looking forward to it, despite the worries of Blooper team, because we've seen what Layers of Fear 2 is, and apparently that game is not great. So you need to have some sort of worry to it. You can't just fully go in and be oh, this is going to be beast, man, this is going to be so good. You have to scale yourself back a little bit. But anyway though, I'm kind of looking forward to it. It does look different, it does look cool. It's definitely right up my alley, and I'm definitely going to play it when it comes out. Special thanks to my brilliant wee patrons, Devil, Proxy1 and TG Monster, for your continued support over on my Patreon. Thank you guys so much, I do really appreciate it. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.